Hey guys, how's it going? And today I'm bringing you another Warspite replay from Cruisnik01 Kane. Now this name should sound familiar, he's been in a couple other of my videos, and I really like the replays this guy sends because his playstyle just differs so much from mine. You usually see me wait and engage when I know I have the advantage. Cruisnik really likes brawling, and he'll get right to the front line and he'll be the guy taking the hits and dealing the damage, which is really nice to have, and it makes for a really entertaining replay. But once again, he's in his Warspite, and he is on the Land of Fire map. And right now it looks like he's heading for the east side of the map. But there's a Farragut that somehow got really close to the base right at the start of the match. And it seems like we're gonna go deal with that. But it is a Farragut. It is a destroyer, so he's going to be concealed and it's going to be hard to find him, though there are quite a few cruisers over here and we have an Atlanta right off our side, which is always a good deterrent for any destroyers that try to interfere. There's a Boudogne, the tier 6 Soviet cruiser. Throw some pot shots at him, though it looks like he kind of turned away, so not sure if those are going to hit. Ooh. 2 good hits for 10,000 damage. Alright. Buddy has no armor, so, or barely any armor for cruiser standards. So usually anything that hits it penetrates. But this Farragut is still over here. And while this early in the match he wouldn't be that much of an issue if he tried to cap, it still would draw the attention of our team away from pushing wherever they are. Now that Farragut's trying to use this island for cover. It looks like we're gonna go right for him. Now the Warspite has really good secondaries at medium to close range, so they should come into play if that destroyer tries to charge us. And there's the destroyer. Main batteries go off. Not much damage there. Secondaries are opening up. Destroyer's trying to turn out. There's the torpedoes. And looks like we're gonna take 2. Yep. 2 on the front. Immediately hits the repair. Damage control. Secondaries deal with the destroyer. And when I first watched this, I'm like, holy crap, this guy has, because if you've seen the channel runner, it is also Cruisnik in his Warspite. And as soon as I saw this Farragut get close to him, I'm like, wow, this guy really has an affinity for dueling destroyers in his battleship, because that seems to be a highlight of some of these matches. But he does know how to turn his ship, and he does know how to angle in order to avoid the most torpedoes. And he does very well in sinking those pathetic little destroyers. There's a Kirov, the tier 5 Russian cruiser. Almost said destroyer. Decent hits on the front. Almost 10,000 damage. A little bit on the low end for 10k, so. But it looks like he's still sailing basically in a straight line. So, if this Atlanta doesn't finish him off, which somebody did, we'll get a round 2 on him. What else do we have? The Aoba, tier 6 Japanese cruiser. Turning, well, he's going to be broadside to us by the time those shots land. Oh, really not much damage there. Come on, Warspite. The Aoba has decent armor, but you can do more than 3.5k to a broadside Aoba. It's not that hard to Citadel. But that's just luck of RNG right there. Ooh, somebody just slammed the Aoba. That's what he needed. Don't go broadside to battleships. And his buddy might learn that right here. But it looks like he's going slower than Cruisnik assumed. Yep, he slowed down and turned out slightly. All those shots missed. Now that Aoba is getting close enough to where the secondaries are engaging him. But it looks like somebody finished him off before our secondaries could do a huge amount of damage. The buddy's making a run for it. Looks like there's a cruiser. Is that a cruiser or a battleship? cruiser near their base who is defending against the destroyer and the cruiser that we have pushing against their base. So that's good. It's drawing attention away from us and allowing us to chase after this buddy who is giving it all he's got to deal damage before we eventually sink him. Or at least hopefully we do. But looks like we kind of want to push on that base. Because there is just a cruiser defending that base, at least all that we know of. So it wouldn't be too hard to smash that and start capping. Shots out. It's a weird angle to shoot at. Not sure if that's going to hit. And RNG straddles the shots. But that's alright. There's always more damage to deal somewhere. So we've got a New York and a New Mexico over there. Both American battleships. The New York is tier 5, New Mexico is tier 6. New Mexico is definitely the bigger threat, though, and the New York can put up a fight if he gets a good broadside in on the Warspite's broadside, because Warspite's really heavily armored from the front, but as soon as you show that rear portion of the ship, you're really going to start losing health because it does not have as much armor as you would like over there. Now it looks like there are 2 destroyers going for our base. We have 2 cruisers going back to defend against that. And hopefully we can sink this buddy. Come on, RNG. But hopefully we can sink the buddy and distract these battleships so that the cruisers don't take too much fire. Looks like a destroyer nailed one of the cruisers and one of our cruisers nailed one of the destroyers. So now it's a 1v1 with the help of a carrier at our base. That New Mexico is looking at the base. He's not looking at us. Not sure where that New York's pointing his guns. Buddy's looking at the base. We have a battleship going back to defend the base, which is always nice because that'll back up the cruiser. 2k to the buddy. Not really enough to 4k to the New York. Not a whole lot of damage, but it might distract their fire. The buddy can't heal that back because he's not tier 8, or he's not tier 9. He's only a tier 6, so he doesn't have the damage repair. So any damage on him is damage that he can't get back, which will take him out of the fight sooner. The New York, on the other hand, we have to deal massive damage to even... Ooh, there's a nice hit on the buddy. He lost a cannon and most of his health. So he's going to try to hide now. Looks like the New York's distracted with us. So, yeah, New Mexico is still tunnel visioned on the base, which is perfectly fine. He can do whatever he wants over there. Now, Kruznik is taking a little bit of damage from their battleship that's behind near their base, but it's nothing really major. I think the battleship was firing high explosive, if I am right. Secondaries are opening up on the New York. Fire another shot at the buddy, trying to sink him before he can set us on fire. And there it is. Of course, the last hit you get on him is a Citadel, because what's the best time to get a Citadel? When they have no health. But our secondaries are opening up and going to town on this New York. Hopefully I can get a few fires on him so that we don't have to, oh, there's one, just as I said it. So that it'll burn his damage control, so it can light another fire if he decides to use it. And just take down his health as we... Ooh, New York's firing high explosive. Good choice. It is doing a lot of damage to the Warspite, especially since he probably won't have much of a chance to pen the front. But it does allow us to swing out the back of our ship without too much fear and put some more shots in his side for massive amount of damage. Another shot. There's a Citadel, finally. Had to shoot right under the engine for that. 2 fires on his ship. He's almost dead, and the fire finishes him off just as he gets another salvo of HE off on us. So we do have a fire. Damage control's up in about 10 seconds. And now we have to deal with this New Mexico to try to save the York that's defending our base. By now it's down to the carriers on the teams, 2 cruisers on our team along with Kruznik's Warspite, and 2 battleships on the enemy team, one of which we know is by their base and one of them is right here in front of us. So we're going to deal with this New Mexico first since he's still queued in right on that cruiser. You think by taking a massive amount of damage in his side that he'd know to at least angle his armor. But this guy seems blatantly oblivious to anything going on around him. Which is perfectly fine for Kruznik because that means he can just continue sailing on next to him, pounding him away with the main battery guns on the Warspite, and just letting the secondaries tear into his ship. Another really good hit on him. Doesn't seem like that New Mexico is healing at all. Secondaries set him on fire. And he's getting around the side of the island. Can we get another shot on him? I don't know. Warspite's not exactly fast, so... York's putting in some decent fire on him. He's still focused completely on that York. Has no clue there's another battleship behind him. The carrier's starting to hit him, which is really good for us. Can he get another shot off, though? If it was me right now, I'd probably take that shot, and I'd probably nail the island an awful lot. But... ooh, almost. We're almost around the side of the island. Will he burn down in time? Oh, there we go. York got it. Perfectly fine. The York was defending the base, and great job to him for doing that. He probably saved us from having to go back earlier and turning our broadside to those battleships, in which case the New Mexico probably would have noticed. But our cruiser in the enemy base has also died to the New York class battleship that is left on their team. So now we have to go hunt him. And obviously he knows where we are because the York's in the back of the map and we're detected by airplanes. We still have a decent carrier though if he has planes left, and I'm not sure if he does. The points are really close. And our cruiser's dead and the enemy carrier sunk it. So it's going to come down to which battleship can sink the other one, because I don't think the carriers have enough planes to fight each other. So where is this New York? There he is. 15 kilometers out and heading right for us. It's going to come down to a duel right in the middle of the map. And this is probably the most entertaining part of the replay. Just because you do not see this at high tiers usually. Usually it's lopsided, there'll be a destroyer left over or something. But heading straight for the New York. Guns blazing. Right here I probably would pop a heal. And there's the high caliber reward. He did about 3k damage to the Warspite, to the New York. But we're going straight for that guy. Full speed ahead. All men to battle stations. We still have secondary batteries left, which is a good thing because we're definitely going to need them. We're about within secondary range now, or we're about to be. What's this New York going to do? Is he going to go for a ram? He won't get the points if he rams because it'll just even out the points again and we will still have a 14-point advantage. Almost looks like he's going to ram. He hasn't turned off his course. Kruznik is deviating to the left side. There's the Confederate award. Kruznik's swinging around those rear guns really quick. Warspite does have a good turn rate, so he can swing it like that, but he is going to get punished for it right there because the New York was salvoing his guns so that he wasn't firing all of them at the same time. And it looks like we're trying to get around the side. Another punishing hit to the side of the Warspite. Secondaries are lacing right into that New York. Come on. Now this is where the Warspite's poor turret rotation comes into play, because they do not turn at the rate that New York is traveling. Come on. Drive into the guns. You're not going to be able to turn the guns to them. There we go. 2 into the side, 13,000 damage, and 2 citadels for the win. And of course this is going to time out before we can find the enemy carrier, because by now he's in the corner. And basically that's how you hard carry in a Warspite. You sit there, you absolutely destroy the enemy team, and just leave your frontal armor facing them. And I mean, make good use of those really good secondaries. It's definitely not a sniper ship. I mean, it even shows that in the stats because it does not have the range for it. It has the stealth to be a good sneak attack ship, so why not use it? Get close, get your main batteries in range, and brawl them. As long as you can keep the guns on target when you brawl, you're perfectly fine. So going into the first stat page, he earned almost 500,000 credits this battle, which the Warspites are really good credit earner. It's not as good as the tier 8 credit earners, but if you're not really great or not that high of a tier captain yet, or you don't really like the tier 8 battles, the Warspite's definitely good pickup if you want to just farm credits. Just over 3,000 experience, and he got a lot of flags just from all the rewards he got. Close quarters expert, Confederate, high caliber, all really good flags to get. Also a devastating strike on that New York. He hit enemy ships 53 times with just regular penetrations or bounces. 4 citadels just absolutely destroying stuff, though one of those citadels was on the buddy at low health, so it did like 1,000 damage. And all the fires he set, all 6 of them were just from secondaries, so it's like strapping a destroyer to the side of your ship and letting it go to town. Because that's about what I usually get in a American destroyer if I shot about the same amount that his secondaries did. But 4 ships destroyed, carried that match pretty hard with his brawling tactics. Sadly, he couldn't get one more kill for the Kraken. That New Mexico would just not cooperate and turn out to give him the kill. But that's alright. It's all damage and it's all nice to see at the end. As long as you had fun, it's all perfectly fine. And going into the second after battle screen, just goes to show how hard he carried this team. Well, I shouldn't say how hard, but he definitely carried, because he got over 2,000 base experience, and the next person after him got just under 1,500 base experience, which, good to them, it shows they really tried. That was that York that defended the base really hard at the end. He also got 3 kills, so very good job to him. Most of the rest of the team scored under 1,000, with a few, or only 2, that scored less than 500, which they might have just got sunk early on, I'm not quite sure. I wasn't really paying attention. But the Art Miyoko on the enemy team was the one that went back and defended their base. He was holding it against another cruiser and a destroyer. He put up a really good fight, and he really deserved that 1,200 base experience that he also earned for just trying to carry his team to victory. Sadly, you could not out-carry the guns of the Warspite, because, when you ignore it for half the match and let it get close to you, it'll wreck you. And Kruznik did a really good job of showing that in this game. And rolling into the last screen goes to show that he did almost 143,000 damage with his main batteries just firing armor piercing. He set almost 5,000 damage just in fires from the secondary batteries. And his secondaries alone did almost 13,000 damage. So the 17,000 damage that his secondaries contributed to his overall score just goes to show that he was sitting there brawling the enemy ships, and he was taking the hits and dealing the damage just as much as he got hit, and just basically carried the team with his secondaries and armor piercing shots and general overall brawling skills. So very good replay from Kruznik, very entertaining in my opinion, and I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you guys have a great day.